Hello and welcome to Series 2, Episode 5 of the Coventry City Former Players Association podcast. Today, we'll be joined by the charismatic Brian Harry Roberts. Harry joined the club at just 15 years of age, spending 13 years at the Sky Blues, and now can be seen working as matchday host in the hospitality lounges around the CBS Arena. Please like, share and subscribe this podcast. And if you can help in any way with sponsorship and donations, please get in touch. But for now, without further ado, please welcome Harry Roberts.
Let's go sing together. What? Oh, what a goal! Gus Harmer scores! The Sky Blues are sky high.
Harry, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
It's been a nice morning, hasn't it?
Well, it's been brilliant because I've just had a bacon and sausage sandwich and a nice cup of coffee, and I'm about to chat to you. So what could be better?
The hospitality is great. Thanks to Rich and Sarah for putting that on. Any former player that comes and does this does get such great hospitality.
So it's not just me.
No. You've got some special treatment with the special sausages today. So I'm going to get straight into it first of all. Brian Leslie Ford Roberts. 4 names you were given.
I know. That sounds special.
Harry.
And they use none of those names.
We best find out why you're called Harry.
Well, when I started playing, there was a police killer named Harry Roberts, and he was really notorious. And in those days, you had policemen walking around the inside of the pitch on the red ground, and I had more chance of killing a policeman with a shot than scoring a goal. So the lads nicknamed me Harry Roberts. And, you know, you look at today's players and they've got some fantastic songs about them. We witnessed Gus's the other night.
A few times.
Yeah, for many times. My one was, Harry Roberts is our friend, he kills coppers. It's not the nicest of songs, but yeah, I was happy with that in the end.
And you've taken that on and always been happy with it.
Right, yeah, 100%. And when I finished playing football, I went into teaching and I had an interview, but there was about 2 of the Brians in the interview panel. So I said, well, just call me Harry. So everybody in education knows me as Harry as well. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, it seems strange sometimes when somebody calls me Brian, but I'm happy with that.
So we'll keep going with Harry. So Harry, you're still popular around Coventry City at the moment, a great servant to the club with a lot of years there. But for those listening that don't know, in hospitality, you are the host interviewing former and current players around the lounges.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic job. You know, I don't class it as a job, really. It's just pure enjoyment. You're getting to meet some of your old pals that you maybe played with and some of the newer ones. And you sit, currently it might be changing, but we used to sit down and have a meal together as well before we did the interview. So you can get some information, what to say, maybe not what to say as well. And you get to know the player better. Like it was Carl Baker the other night, and he's a brilliant guy. As well as being a brilliant player, he's quite bright. And him going into a professional refereeing, honestly, God, and it sounds, you think, we talk about refereeing, you think it sounds boring. I could have spent 2 or 3 hours just talking about what the referee has to go through nowadays, and the procedures, the things in their ears, the linesmen, well, not linesmen, the assistants, everything. It's such a big job. So I get to meet all these people, and then I get, from the player of the match after the game, I get to meet the current squad. And so I've been doing that for, I don't know how many years, 10, 12, 15, I don't know. So I've got to know a lot of the players over the years. And, the general reporters, they ask all the proper questions about the game, what happened on the formation depth and whatever. But I just sort of try and keep it light for the player and for the audience, because they like to see sometimes the other side of the player rather than, those strict answers you have to give. So I try and get behind it a little bit.
It's a busy old job, though. 6 lounges to do in
7.
7 lounges.
Yeah.
You're running around like you were when
8
you were on the
lounges.
pitch.
8 lounges. Yeah, it was. It's changing now, because not just because suppose, running the Premier League, but the setup is going to be slightly different. So perhaps I'll be just doing 3. But I did love it. Yeah, and you have to get a move on. And but the nice thing about that, I was getting to see 8 different sets of people, sets of audience and sets of crowd. The player used to say to me, are you going to ask me the same questions? I said, yeah, same questions, same jokes, different audience. That's all you need. You don't need to change your jokes, just different audiences. So I loved it. I really did love it. But as I say, it's changing, and we'll see how this coming season goes.
And still well received around all the lounges.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think what the fans realise and the fans know, if you're loving it and this can see I'm loving it, then they can see that and they respond to it. We have a good rapport between all the fans. Yeah, it's brilliant. I couldn't ask for a better job, to be honest.
And a great job you do of it. But we're going to rewind a few years now. 55, you were born in Manchester.
Well, apparently, yes. I wasn't, I didn't know too much about it, but yeah, one of 9 kids.
One of 9?
One of 9 I was, yeah. I was, well, say that in 55, I was the 3rd. But yeah, we wanted to have another further 6th.
No TVs in Manchester?
Well, I think my mum was a bit deaf. At bedtime, my dad would say, do you want to go to sleep or what? She'd go, what? And then another one was born. Oh, so that's, as I say, 9 of us. So that's why if you ever see me eating, or I eat it quickly, because you had to in those days, because if you didn't, somebody else would take off your plate. So, it's...
And did everyone get into football? Was it just you?
Basically, I was the only one. My brother nearly did, but he couldn't spit far enough. But he did the pools as well. That's the closest he got to the football pools. But yeah, nobody was sporty at all. None of them. My dad he did boxing, a bit of boxing and things like that, and tried to get me to do that, but hated it. But yeah, so I was the really odd one out.
Oh, and was it school that got you into football?
Well, even before then, I just took to it. Yeah, I couldn't go anywhere without a ball. Anywhere without a ball at all. To the shops, whatever I was doing, whether it be a tennis ball or whatever, I'd always have a ball with me. And so that's why, that just went from there. Obviously, I played for my school, and then I played above my age group. Yeah, it went on from there. But as I say, nobody else in the family did it. Nobody else had. I played a lot of games over my career, nearly 500 games. My dad never ever came to see me play once. My mum came once to see me, so they were interested.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you support a team?
Man United, one of the rare ones that's from Manchester who supports them. And I went to all the European Cup games in 68. The home games, obviously, I couldn't do the away games. Yeah, so a big fan. I saw all the massive stars there, George Best, with Charlton, Dennis Law, all the big stars. So I grew up with. Yeah, I think it was a bit spoiled.
I'm sure you said that Manchester United and City, was it interesting sign? How did you end up at Coventry City?
Basically because, one, Coventry had a brilliant youth policy. So you had more chance. Manchester United, I could have gone there but they troll everybody, and you don't get them as much a chance to progress to the first team. But one of the main reasons, sadly enough, it was that I wanted to leave home. My home life wasn't very good. My dad wasn't a very nice guy. He'd been in prison a few times. He just wasn't a nice guy. So I was looking to get away from home. And so Graham Padden used to play for Coventry. They're from Manchester, and his dad was walking past, and he was a scout for Coventry, and he was walking past my school, Newtry High School, and saw a game, came in, and took my name from a teacher, John Thompson, and I went out to trials at Coventry. My dad had a few trials everywhere else, but I was a football trial.
So you moved down to Coventry, what was it, 70, 74?
71. 1971, yeah, I was 15.
As a young lad?
Leaving 100 miles down. It sounds pathetic nowadays, but I'd never been on a train before, and I'd never been in a taxi before. So to get a train, they send you the train ticket down, and they said, when I get to Coventry Station, get in a taxi and say 34 Catherine Street. And it was one of the proudest moments. So got the train, got into the taxi, 34 Catherine Street, Coventry City Football Club's hostel. And it took me to the salubrious area of Hillfields and surrounding areas there. So, yeah, it was a proud moment doing that.
And this was a hostel where a lot of young players came.
Yeah, it's not, we weren't ne'er-do-wells. It was players from all around the country would great. And it'd be probably a 3-tier thing. So you'd be the young ones that came in those days, you could, 15. So I was 15, there was some 16 and then 17. And, as in different age groups, sort of, you have to face their wrath occasionally. So when you come in, everything got done on you, you better be tipped upside down. There'd be a bucket of water on the door as you open the door in the bedroom. So, but as I progressed through we did it to the younger one. So it was it was a great intro. Like I was saying earlier, I didn't have a very nice upbringing before that, but it's amazing what you get used to. And I came to Coventry and I was getting 3 meals a day, clean bedding, everything. And I was missing home like mad. And it's amazing, but then as the period goes on, after about probably 6 months, you fitted into it, and then I was fine.
Were there any players in the hostel around that time who went on to make
probably just Mick Ferguson, and he was the senior one, I think, 2 years above me. But there was a group of lads from all over maybe Donald Murphy, all over the countries then, not abroad basically, but like Ireland, Wales and Scotland. We used to get a lot of players from Scotland. And then you were introduced to different, I don't want to say cultures, but different music tastes. So you get a really, I remember Graham Oakey was there, and he used to love Eric Clapton. I'd never heard of Eric Clapton, the guitarist, before, being in Cream and all these. And so you start listening to his music, and I would say, I love Slade and da da da. So you got introduced to loads of different types of music genres and whatever. A great time, best times of my life.
And I've heard Mick Ferguson was one of the jokers, and he was one of the ones playing tricks on you, wasn't he?
Well, he did, but nothing too bad. It's just fun, just fun, really. To be honest, you get bored, because you have to be in by 10 o'clock. You're there for, you do your training, you clean whatever we had to clean up at the training ground. You get back and then you get bored, so you start thinking things up and whatever. And we used to play tricks on the insurer. I think Jim and Eva, used to look after us at one time, and we used to pull the lights out the corridors upstairs and put a big basket in the middle of the corridor, and then we'd make a noise, and then Jim would come up. What the hell are you doing? And you hear him fall over the thing because there's no lights. We do, just childish stuff. It got you through the day. It was an interesting time, and I'm obviously lots of players of my age and before will say, "Oh, in my day it was better." But I sincerely do believe that,
Well, you didn't go straight into the Coventry side. You went off on loan for a little while.
Yeah.
Hereford.
Hereford.
I think
United.
anyone knows anything about the manager there, do they?
No, not a lot. He was John Sillett, and he was brilliant. So I went to Hereford as a boy and played in 5 games in the second or third division. I don't know how it works nowadays, in the old third division. And you're playing against real men, absolutely real men. I played 5 games there, and it was brilliant. It made me into a proper player. And his number 2, John Sillett's number 2, was Terry Payne. I don't know if you remember him, the Southampton player, England international. And I was so, young and naive. And he was we were going down to play Brighton, I think it was. And Terry Payne said, "Harry," when I would sit next to me, and he started chatting. I thought I was going to get all these words of wisdom, whatever. And he was a nice guy. And he says, "See the fields over there? We're passing. There was all these acres of fields." He says, "That used to be long grass there, and really long grass. It's all changed." He says, "Over there." Yeah, she says, "And there used to be a tribe of pygmies who used to live there." And because he's, I said, "Oh, right, yeah." He says they're called the Fakawi tribe. I says, "Oh, right." Yeah. He said, "Do you know why they're called that?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, the grass was 3 foot tall and they were only 2 foot. So they used to jump up and say, 'We're the Fakawi, we're the Fakawi.'" And it was brilliant because it relaxed me, because I was absolutely cacking myself, going to play this first game. And it made me feel really relaxed, and I could, play the game. And as I say, we went, and I had 5 games there, and I did well, and Hereford wanted to sign me, but undoubtedly Coventry would have sent scouts to certain of the games to see me play, and they said, "No, he's staying." And as they say, the rest is history.
Physical game back then.
Yeah, it was tough, but I loved it. I really did love it, And as I say, it made you have to stand up for yourself. It made you be more determined, and I think that was part of my game. I was strong, I was determined, and I didn't want to lose. So that just prepared me for became the first. What was the first division?
So they did want to sign you, but it was Gordon Milne that brought you back to the club.
Yeah. He said no, but he's staying here. He's got a future here, which it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, and then I went to spend 10 years as a pro at Coventry. So that was fantastic.
And Gordon Milne was a manager because he was there a good 7 or 8 years. If
Yeah.
your time at Coventry,
Yeah.
how was it as a manager?
He was great. He was fantastic. Great man manager. Very good at everything, basically. Balancing the books, getting the right team, dealing with the fans. He was just one of these guys. And he had sort of a sidekick, Ron Wiley, who was dour. It wasn't dour, but he was the hard man. So it was like good cop, bad cop. And over the first, year or so when I was in and out of the team, I'd go in and say, well, I'm not playing today. I'd go and see Gordon. And he'd say, well, I thought you did well the last game, but Ron thinks you need a rest. And so the next time I was dropped, I'd go and see Ron and I'd say, Ron, why am I not in the team? He said, well, Gordon thinks we need a little change today. So, they worked as a pair and it was good fun. Yeah.
And made your debut against Spurs?
I did, yeah. I'm not 100% certain, but I think my first 10, 11, 12 games was away from home. Yeah, so I was almost a regular, but nobody knew me. I don't know whether it suited what the management were thinking at the time, because I was never adventurous, but you could rely on me to get a tackle in, to be strong and to defend, which sometimes I think nowadays defenders forget that little caveat in their position. But it was 10 or 11 games where I hadn't played at home.
The 10 or 11 away games, what were your favourite away grounds throughout your 10 years?
Well, coming from Manchester, it's Old Trafford and a Main Road. But, the not sad thing now, but lots of the grounds, they're changing. Like we've gone from Highfield Road to where we are now. So when I look back, there's some of the grounds that I've played that I've gone. Arsenal, Arsenal's ground. But probably Arsenal was one because it was just so grand. And so, the commissionaires outside as you walked in, and I think they had heated floor as well in the changing rooms. And so Old Trafford, all the ones you'd expect. Anfield, it's just Arsenal. It's just, but it was brilliant. It's just a different class. You go down, it's funny, you go in through Anfield and you sort of push these sorts of plastic doors and it's and the noise of the plastic doors like that. And it's like going out to Anfield crowd. So that was brilliant. And obviously, as I say, going back to my home where my schoolmates were and they could come and see me play. And it was great.
What about the most hostile of environments to go and play in?
Coventry, when they found out when I was playing. No, something like West Ham, the fans are right on top of you, on top of the pitch. That was one, but they're all the same. I switch off. You don't listen to it too much. It doesn't register. It registers when you're playing in the reserves, and there's about 400 there, and you can hear, Roberts, you're useless. I thought, well, my manager shouldn't be saying that, really. But I remember one manager saying to me, Harry, get warmed up, you're coming off. So that didn't go down too well. But yeah, there's no really hostile crowds, I got on with the one. They loved me, the opposition did. But yeah.
Brilliant. So you played with some great players.
As did they with me.
Yeah. I mean, Hutchinson, Bliss, some of the, talk about some of the players you played with throughout your time.
Well, Blythe, he's still my best mate now, and they have a golf day for his son that sadly passed away when he was very young. So we have an annual golf day, so I'll get his top on today. But Blythe is still my friend. We still meet up for coffee. He's Scottish, so I have to pay. Hutchie is fantastic, and I'm going to be meeting him soon for one of the games. But it was always a battle with Hutchie, because what we're doing at Coventry, we'd have a forwards against defence. So I'd be right back, he'd be left wing, and we'd have fights and everything, proper fights, like on the pitch. And because he's all elbows and awkward, I was similar. But as soon as the game's over, it's finished. But he had a caustic tongue. He could rip players to pieces. But a really one of the best player I probably played with. Another top guy for a different reason was Terry Orth, and he was my best captain. I was playing against Liverpool one day at Highfield Road, and for why I don't know, Jim Blythe threw the ball out to me. I never wanted the ball, but he did, and I got it and went to go down the line, and Souness came from sort of cross and banjoed me across the ankle. I thought I'd broken my ankle, and then the St John ambulance men came on and carried me off, and as I'm getting carried off, Terry Orth comes over to me and says, Harry, don't worry. I'll sort him out, don't you worry. And it was on Match of Day, which is quite rare in those days. We're not on very often. And I saw Terry absolutely banjoed him. Yeah, he didn't get him carried off, though. But what I'm saying is that he was, and not just that for being a captain, he was a great captain anyway, whether he was playing good, bad or indifferent. He would look after you. He was a leader, a natural leader. And
did you have any bad injuries during your career?
Yeah, well, not bad, and ligaments troubles and things like that. And I got calves that only a cow could love. But I broke my leg. But if you're going to break a leg, you get a friend to do it. So I was playing against West Brom for Birmingham City on our first Sunday game ever. And it was the same Sunday where Coventry were playing in the semi-final of the FA Cup in 87. And I was playing against West Brom and I got the ball and the ball broke a little bit because of the controller was not great. So I went to toe poke the ball away. And as I did that, Paul Dyson, who I used to play with at Coventry, came across and tackled me across the sort of just below my knee. And I broke the fibula. Yeah. And so there was no...
He's a big lad as well.
He is a big lad. It was an accident, you know. And that's what he says. No, I'm sure it was. And the physio came on. He says, and he's doesn't look great. But John Bond was manager of Birmingham at the time. He says, keep him on. The sub had come on, you see, and that was it. So I played 27 minutes with a broken leg. And, you know, football was not the brightest at times. They kept passing to me. I've got a broken leg here. What are you passing to me for? But yeah, I got man of the match. No, but yeah, it was, but the thing is, you know how football changes, because we were going through the doldrums then. Football was really struggling financially. So at Birmingham, I'd broken my leg, came in afterwards, and the physio wrote a note for me to take to the hospital myself. So I drove to the hospital. They said it's broken. They said you need to bandage, so I couldn't drive. So I had to phone my brother-in-law. So this is a hospital in Solihull. Phone my brother-in-law in Coventry to come across to pick me up, and somebody else to bring my car back. Can you imagine that happening nowadays? No. So, and
well, you obviously made up with Paul Dyson because you were at Bedworth Liberal Club with him last week. So, you know.
Have you seen the size of him? I'm not going to hold a grudge against him. No, and he's been in the the prison service for about 30 years as well. I think he'll learn a few new tricks there. So no, I forgave him. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I didn't see him trying to 2-foot you again. No. So what was your style of play? You were a fullback?
Yeah, I was quick, could tackle, and always gave my best. So wouldn't say I was the most skillful, but I think part of that reason was because that was taken out of me at a young age. Whenever there was free kicks, corners for us, the manager would say, Harry, you stay back, because he knew that I was quick and da-da-da. And so I wasn't involved in any of the overlaps. And I think I overlapped once and got booked for time wasting. So that put me off. So I used to always stay back. And it sort of changed when Dave Sexton became manager. But going back further, when Gordon was there, I remember playing against Forest, John Robertson, and I was told to man mark him and wherever he goes. So usually, I'm playing right back, usually if the ball's on the other side of the pitch, me as a right back should tuck in and be alongside the centre half. They told me not to do that, just stay with John Robertson. And John Robertson didn't like it. He said, I'm going for a piss now, you're going to follow me? I says, yeah. And so he didn't get much of a kick, but that's what I'm saying is that they didn't want me to show what I could do. They wanted me to be a destroyer. So, but it changed when Dave Sexton came, and Dave Sexton was brilliant manager, very forward thinking, ahead of his time. And he got us all to learn a trick, and he says, and I want you to, implement it into the game. He says, in the right positions, obviously, but you know that. And that made me feel so free. And I went to score all my goals under him. Well, both of them.
What was your trick?
But it was to drag it towards one side and drag it back. And I did it against David Langan at Derby. And he said to me, Harry, how did you do that? And I just thought, well, I've done one little good trick and that's it. I didn't do it again because, I didn't want to spoil it. But so it's amazing because nowadays you've got sports analysts, sports psychiatrists, sports everything. So that perhaps would have helped me because in the end, towards the end of my career, I was thinking when I went out, I hope the player I'm playing against has a bad game, not I'm going to have a great game. And it was typified when I left Coventry and I was captain and Sam Allardyce took over as captain. And it was sort of a compliment in a way. He said, I don't think anybody has seen the real Harry Roberts because he's a hell of a player, but on the pitch, he's not asked to do anything like that. So I thought it was really nice of Sam to say that.
Notice you try and shoehorn in about the goals you scored. I'm going to talk.
We haven't got enough time, to be honest.
I was going to.
Yeah, I scored both of them in the same season. Yeah, West Ham away.
Apart, I think.
Yeah. I don't remember much about this first one away at West Ham. The 26,722 crowd. There was a light breeze and it was drizzling. Danny Thomas went down the right. This is Dave Sexton again was ahead of his time because in those days, like I said, if the right fullback went, I was playing left fullback this time because I could play badly anyway. It didn't matter. So if the right fullback goes, the left fullback covers round back. But he changed that. He said, yeah, if you go. So Danny Thomas went down the right wing, crossed it, and he didn't hit it quite right. So it came to the edge of the box, and I volleyed it in. And Phil Parks, the the West Ham keeper got a finger to it. Now, I don't know if this is true, but they say to this day, when he gets up in the morning, the first thing he does is because it still stings. So I scored that goal, and the ironic thing is that I didn't know what to do, and everybody was shocked, And it came that Dave Sexton then had some badges made saying, "I saw Harry score." They're so rare, so they had these big badges. And let's just say a month later, I was playing.
That was away at West Ham.
Away at West Ham. This was at Hereford Road in the FA Cup against Norwich. I think it was the FA Cup, and I shot from about 20 yards, and it fooled the goalkeeper. It was a lot slower than he thought, and he parried it out, and quicker than you could close the door on a Jehovah's Witness. I was there and just side-footed it in, and that was my second goal, and I thought, I've had enough of this now.
I've heard you got fed up with all the kissing.
Oh, I used to think it would be young players doing it, but, times are changing. But it was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
2 goals. I mean, Jada Silva hasn't scored for Coventry.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Far more prolific than him.
Yeah, well, and he gets forward a lot more than I do. He's a good player, he's great going forward. Fantastic touch. But I'll have a word with him.
Right, we're going to take a short break, hydration break. I'm not sure it's sponsored by yet. That'll be arranged, but I'm sure someone can.
Some adverts will be coming on now.
We'll have a couple of adverts in the middle. We are going to get some hydration because there's coffee and orange juice sitting here after our bacons. It's great hospitality, isn't it?
And sausage, don't forget that. Sausage sandwiches.
We'll be back after this short break where Harry's going to talk about his favourite games for Coventry and, of course, that
won't be long.
And that famous FA Cup and League Cup run in 1981.
Yep.
But for now, Harry Roberts.
Cheers, thank you.
Hi, I'm Helen Smith from Designer Travel, booking worldwide holidays for fellow Sky Blues fans. Look me up on Facebook and quote CCFPA to receive a free gift when you book. Play up Sky Blues.
And welcome back from the hydration break.
I feel much better now, seriously.
And this Coventry City former players raised about £1 million during that.
Yes, yeah.
From adverts.
Yeah, Trump gets it all. Yeah.
How did you enjoy the World Cup?
I think it was let down by the poor refereeing. Because it got me so angry. I was not a fan of the hydration breaks neither, but it got me so angry, particularly when England played Argentina, and I could see that. And in fact, I was talking to Carl Baker because he's becoming a professional referee. I said, "What do you think about it?" And he said, "Yeah, the refereeing was not up to standard." And he said, "World Cup," and he said they have to allot certain referees from certain countries, so you don't pick the 6 best referees, you pick some referee from maybe a small country who's not as experienced because he's from that country. You have to play them. So I thought particularly the Argentina-England game was the first challenge. Yeah, that should have been booked. Then you think you're in. But yeah, generally brilliant. And I'm so pleased that Spain football won. Because it was bordering on thuggery.
I got a feeling hydration breaks, are they coming into I saw some in the Championship yesterday. So
really?
Might have to get you.
I know it's a change in Britain, isn't it? Because we had 5 heat waves already. Really?
Yeah. Might just be a summer thing. It wasn't a problem in your day. So let's talk about some of those great games.
You've lost me now.
Over 10 games, you must have had some memorable ones.
After 10 games?
10 years.
Oh, 10 years.
10 years. I'll edit that. So
I might have been 10 good games over 10 years. You know what? There are players I speak to who can remember every single minute of every single game. Whether it was the fact that I was trying to forget every single minute of every game. But I don't really think of, go back to any of the games as such. I sort of move forward. Obviously, the semi-final against West Ham in, 81, in the League Cup, first leg, that was an epic game, proper cup tie. And we were about 30-odd minutes away from Wembley when we played West Ham away in the second leg, and we lost 2-0. So that was such a heartache, because Coventry had never been to a final, never before, and I was, we could have done it. But it wasn't to be. But probably another one of my games I remember was being made captain by Bobby Gould. And when we go out onto the pitch, you've gone out, you've done your warm-up, and it's totally different to the warm-ups they do nowadays. It's all synchronised almost now. But in them days, you just go out, kick a few balls, and come back in. And then you all go out together, your team. You don't go out with the opposition. So, we turned around, I was captain, and I was like, come on, lads, go on. And they were going, yeah, go on, Harry. So I run out and I get to the centre of the pitch. I look round and they hadn't followed. They'd all stayed in the tunnel. And it was brilliant. So yeah, that sticks in my mind. And again, to do with vanity, we were on TV, our first TV game that I remember. And I'd done my hair coiffured, and those days I did have hair on my head, not wherever else. And I'd curled it under and all, everything was spot on. So I'm about to go out, and as we're running out to the pitch, Barry Powell had a handful of Vaseline, and he put it on my head and went, "Good luck, Harry." My hair was a mess. I chased after him. I'd say, so if I'd have caught him, I'd done him. So I'm here trying to get my hair. It's daft what you do, Some instances like that you remember, but games-wise...
I'll just ask you your favourite game.
I know.
10 years as a Coventry City player, and we got to having Vaseline rubbed on.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I know it stands out. But there was loads of great games. A Liverpool game when we won, and Terry Gibson scored a hat trick, and Nicky Plattner scored one, and that was fantastic.
We had Terry Gibson on this podcast.
What a super lad!
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant lad. And I was doing snips at the time. I think I used to write a column in the programme. And he was like gold for me, because I didn't, when I was writing, I didn't want to talk about what everybody else wrote. If you look at other teams' programs, the captain will say, "We should have won on Saturday." The referees, that I went behind it all, and Terry Gibson was fantastic and a fantastic lad. And I used to put in the I saw him in Mother Care. He's not got kids. He was just buying clothes for himself, because he was so tiny. I says he struggles to put food on the table. He can afford it, but he just struggles to put food on the table. So, and he loved it. And it's such a brilliant lad. I'm so pleased he's doing so well on the TV and on radio and such, because he is a special person.
Yeah, really knowledgeable about Spanish football.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? How things turn out. What was your question again? I go off on so many tangents.
I'm still trying to get your best games out. I think Liverpool was one.
Doesn't that answer the question? There was not many.
Yeah, well, we'll go with Liverpool 4-0. One probably everyone wants to know about is that Cup semi-final. You were a great Cup team that year. Round of the FA Cup, and then the big semi-final. The home game must have stood out. I mean,
I did.
The atmosphere.
It was fantastic, and to own goals. Like I said previously, it was a proper cup tie. If you'd have been a neutral, you'd have been, you'd have loved it, because it was to and fro. It was just a fantastic game, and poor old Les Seeley, threw one in, I think, in my opinion, and Gary Thompson. So it was one of those games, but then we come out with a win, and you think, yeah, this is it now. And to be so close, and to have it sort of, the carpet pulled from under your feet. But that typifies what football's all about, and that's why, we continue to play it, and the fans continue to watch it, because it can just change like that. But yeah, it's...
How was the change of management? And so you spent a lot of years under Gordon Milne, and then Dave Sexton was at the start.
Dave Sexton was brilliant.
Milne, and then Bobby Gould.
Bobby Gould came in, and he's Bobby Gould. I don't know if you've ever met him, whatever. He's a strange fella in many ways. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's sort of maverick in many ways. I remember we'd signed Charlie George towards the end of his career, and we went out, and Bobby come up with some strange things, and he said, we're having a five-a-side, but there's no ball. He says, you've got to pretend. And I thought, I've got a chance here. Yes, could be man of the match here. There's no ball. And anyway, so we're doing this stupid thing for about 10 minutes, and then Charlie George walks off, and Bob says, what are you doing? He says, I've kicked the ball over there. I'm going to get it. And it just, so many daft things. But Bobby Gould would also bring in reporters into his office when he's doing a transfer. And one of his craziest things he did, he made me captain. So, people question that. But it's a fickle game, because he made me captain, and we were struggling, as we did most of the times, as in, we stayed in the division. And I remember coming in after a game, we'd played away, and I went to the change room. I said, come on, lads, it doesn't seem to hurt you, this. No, we just lost. I think it was QPR, I'm not sure. Anyway, the Monday morning, we had a game on the following Tuesday, and I came in and ready to get changed in the change room. Bobby Gould pops his head in and says, Harry, can I have a word? Yeah, I'll just get changed and come up. And he said, no, come as you are. So I went up into his office, and he says, well, I didn't like what you said on Saturday after the game. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, you said people didn't hurt people. And I said, well, Bob, that's you all over as well. You give everything. And I don't think we all did. And I think that's the point I was trying to get across. And he said, well, anyway, thought, you're not going to play tomorrow. I thought you looked a bit tired. I said, Bob, please be honest with me. Don't bullshit me. I'm not tired. I'm the fittest player at the club. If you were to say I'm not the most skillful, I'll agree with you. If you say, I'm not picking you because of that, that's fine. But don't say it because I'm not, I look tired. I wasn't. He said, well, anyway, you're not going to be playing tomorrow. And he says, and I think a move would be good for you. I said, oh, what do you mean a move? I don't want to. He said, well, Ron Saunders has been in from Birmingham City and he wants to have a chat with you. And I said, Bob, that's great, but I'm not interested. If you're not going to play me tomorrow, I'll fight for my place. I've been there 10 years, you see, 13 years if you count the apprenticeship. And he said, well, just go home. And he don't talk to anybody when you're going out. I said, what do you mean don't? He said, just go and get into your car and go home. So it's strange things like that.
How long after he'd made you captain is this?
This nearly a year, yeah. So I went home and then Bobby Gould rang again. He said, look, Ron Saunders is going to speak to you from Birmingham City. I said, Bob, I don't want to talk to him. He said, Harry, let me put it this way. You've not got a future here. And I was gutted. Anyway, Ron Saunders rang, offered me a 3-year contract, more money, but I didn't want to go. But I had no future at Coventry. And the sad thing was that Coventry owed me some money, and Bobby Gould said to me, you won't get that money if you go to the press and tell them, you just got to go back and just say you've been transferred to Birmingham. Birmingham had raised a buy a player fund, bought me for £10,000. What a waste of money that was. People were asking for the money back. But anyway, it just shows what football was like in those days. The management had the control. Whereas I think it's gone too far now. The players more or less have a lot of the control now, and agents. We didn't have an agent. I had a Littlewoods Pools agent, and that's about it. Yeah, so I had to go, and it was in the Telegraph, and my kids were at school at the time. But leaves a sinking ship. No, it wasn't down to me at all. And a couple of years later, I've set the record straight in the Telegraph, and I saw Bobby Gould after that. He says, Harry, that's the way football is, and says, I don't hold a grudge. Hope you don't hold a grudge. That's what we had to do at the time. So, but it just typifies what the game was like and what a lot of the fans didn't get to know about in those days, because it was all the management had the control. And I was so upset, I really was upset. Ironically, I went to Birmingham City and Birmingham City went down. Thank you. Thank you. And we came straight back up the following season.
Yeah. Fair to say you never ever wanted to leave?
No, not at all.
Fair to say your heart was still at Coventry City?
But you know what? That's to say, this is the fickle thing about football management. I went on to play 6 years at Birmingham City, 2 years at Wolves. I finished at Wolves and I think it was a 39, 40, something like that, whatever. Bobby Gould rings me up and said, would I become reserve team player manager? So he's got rid of me, and in a not so nice way. But then he's rang me up a few years later and said, and so I went back there and I had him as the manager there, then him and Phil Neal and whatever. So it was brilliant. I loved it, but it goes to show that, you can be flavour of the month 1 minute.
Different people, different times.
Yeah.
But you say 10,000 was a waste of money for Birmingham.
I'm only repeating what they said.
We were just talking in the break about Peter Runlove, the exact same amount Coventry paid for Peter Runlove.
Well, let's put the two together. Which one would you rather have? Yeah.
But look, you paid nearly 200 games to Birmingham as well.
Yeah.
So I think they've got pretty good value there.
Yeah. It was. I enjoyed it there. I mean, you should enjoy it everywhere you go. And then I went on a couple of years at Wolves again, which was great. But then that was starting to get, I was of a certain age and I was starting to get these little niggly injuries. And I remember them buying a player from Birmingham City, a fullback in my position called Kevin Ashley for £500,000, which is a lot of money in '92. And I went to see the manager and I said, does that mean he's? And he said, no, you keep playing well, you'll stay in the team. Very next game, I'm doing really well. My calf goes. I talked about my calves earlier. I have a calf strain.
Only a cow could love.
I've got calves only a cow could love, yes. So, and then that's it, and he comes in. So that's what football's all about. So, yeah, such is life.
But you went to Wolves, played 20-odd games for them.
Yeah.
And
I loved it.
Was it injury?
It was an injury that finished, but I was playing with Bully, Steve Bull. Great guy. I've never understood a word he said, and all this stuff. But, yeah, what a good guy and what a good player. It's strange, he was playing for England and he used to get free kit from Adidas and he used to bring the kit in to the change rooms at Wolves and sell it to us, the other players. It just doesn't bear thinking about nowadays. You get kit thrown at you.
It's another thing about players nowadays. They play 2 games in the Premier League and they're set for life. 20 years in football and that's you've still got another career after.
And
that.
thank goodness I did. And I don't mean thank goodness. It's the best career I ever had, the best job. So I love my football, but I went into teaching, and I would not change a day of that. 20 years in teaching, it's the best job I've ever had. So really, I haven't worked a day in my life, of the 2 jobs I've had over the years, because it's just, if you love doing something, then it is not a job. I'd hate to have a job where you get up in the morning and, sugar, I don't want to go to work today. I can't wait till Friday comes. So I never had any of that. I was head of sport. I started off in a Arnold Lodge in Leamington, a private school, and I took over from, it's strange, I'm 5'8", and I took over from a rugby player, Welsh international, Derwin Jones, who was 6'9" or something like that. And so that was the long and short of it. And so I took over from him, and we went, and then I just loved it. I just loved teaching kids. I loved passing on knowledge, their growth, seeing how they mature. It was just brilliant. So I had 7 years there, and then I went to the Croft in another private school in Stratford. I did have a year at William Parker in Daventry, which is a state school, senior state school, and I learned a lot there. How to take a punch, how to fall, and a few new swear words. No, but it was an education as well, and that's a play on words, but it was. So I learned a lot everywhere, and I loved it.
And you say play on words, the odd little bit of journalism.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well,
we still buy your book.
$6.99 in all good bookstores.
Some rubbish ones
No,
too.
Yeah. When I wrote the book, and if you read the book, which very few people have, we published 8,000 and we sold them all. So it went well. But if you read the book and you know me, you know it's me that I'd written it, because you get all these ghostwriters, which is fine, because but it is me. I remember I used to write a column, like I said, in the programme for Coventry, and then I went to, they asked me to write a column in the Sports Argus, which is a massive big paper, Birmingham based. And I did that for a few years, and people coming up to me and say, "You're Harry Roberts, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "You write that column in the Argus, it's brilliant." I says, "I'm still a footballer, So they knew me more for the column. So anyway, but this guy who worked for Paper Plane Publishing came up to me one day and said, "Why don't you write a book?" I said, "I can't write a book, And he said, "Look, you do it so well in your columns. It's just a larger column." So I said, "Well, I'll give it a go." And I was playing for Wolves at the time, and I used to get the train from Coventry to Wolverhampton. So I'd sit on the train, and because it's not the most picturesque if you go from certainly past Birmingham into Wolverhampton. And so I'd write all my stuff, and then that spark something else off. And then I'd talk to somebody, one of my mates, and they said, "You remember that?" And you get it all. Now, if you read the book, it's tongue-in-cheek, some of it, but 90% of it is true. And it was the best thing. And I said to myself, "Oh, look, if I just sell one, I'll be happy." Like hell I was. I used to go into Waterstones and different bookstores, and there'd be Keegan's book, their Gaza, and I'd put them on the back and put my book in front and go around all the bookstores doing that. But yeah, it was a great time. Thankful to Graham Turner at Wolves for giving me so many Saturdays off to work on it. It was good.
I think a reprint is in order.
Well, yeah. Well, if you've got problems sleeping, maybe,
I mean, and then, sorry, from that, how did you get into the hosting at Coventry and the interview?
I've been doing that for a long time. I wish I could remember exactly when I started, but I remember them asking me to just come and sit in a lounge. And I felt a fraud, really, as they're paying me, not a great deal, obviously, but pay me just sit there. And I said to them, "Why don't you want to do anything more than that?" Because I just feel as if, you're not getting your money's worth. And so I said, "What about interviewing somebody or whatever?" And so it started from that. And like I said previously, I loved it, and I still do. I shouldn't say this, but I do it for nothing. But Doug, I won't. Yeah, but yeah, it's.
I think
it's a super job. I'm happy with what I'm getting now.
So you're a great sport with the Former Players Association as well. We're sat here with Rich and Sarah, so we best give a big shout out to the former players.
Oh, yeah.
Legends Day, Golf Day, all the rest of it.
Yeah. They do such a fantastic job. And it's easy to serve all these platitudes to them, but they do, and it's for nothing, as in financial gains. And it's for a love of the game. And I think that's what Sarah and Richard do, as do with others. And they will probably correct me on this. We were the second largest former players collection. But are we first now? We're number one now.
I believe it's number one.
We're number one. They've done their job. They've worked. Promoted again. They used to love going in the lift last season after we got promotion. We knew. And I said, "Going up?" I thought, yes, we are.
Well, talking of going up, would you consider yourself a Coventry City fan now?
100% Coventry City fan. But, I don't think you can lose what you had as a kid. If Coventry were playing Man United like we did at Wembley, hate mentioning them there, I was a Coventry fan. And I was Coventry through and through. So, but you always look at your old, it's like when all the players that you probably speak to, they'll always look at the teams they've played for, their results as well to a degree. But Coventry will always be, it's strangely the amount of players that I talk to and they say that Coventry is the team. And he said, it's so easy to say that, I know, but it really is the team that is a family team, a homely team, and the team that looked after me. I was talking to Chris Kirkman, interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, still got a bad neck. And he was saying that Coventry, he would never have moved to Liverpool because it was too early. Other than that, it was Liverpool, and Liverpool were his team.
He was a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, but he says, I loved Coventry. But, I'm not blowing, up your backside here, but the amount of players I've interviewed and do say that is brilliant. So that, the club's done something right over the years. It's fantastic.
Good to hear. I mean, it's been an exciting last few seasons.
Yeah.
Tell me how much looking forward to next season. Premier League team again.
It's been brilliant, but the biggest thing I think is fans' expectations because, the last 6, 7, 8, whatever years, it's been that going up all the time. We're expected to win. We're expected to score. And we've fulfilled all that. It will be different, so we've got to, to accept what's going to become and be a bit more patient maybe. But I'm getting tinglings and I'm getting butterflies in my stomach thinking about the excitement that's going to be there, and it's going to be absolutely buzzing. And, I interviewed David Speedy a few weeks ago, and I said to him, we had to sit down after the interview. I said, listen to this song that we're going to sing in a minute. And he said, yeah, all right. And he's been there, he's been everywhere, I've done it and everything. Anyway, we live in that. We stand up, we're doing this, and everything, it finished. And he says, I've got the hairs on the back of my neck. He says, I've never heard anything like that before. And it's brilliant, isn't it? A person like that saying, and that really, that song really lifts everybody. And I'd love to be on the pitch when that's being belted out by 30,000 fans. So lots of excitement, as is everybody. Everybody I speak to saying we can't wait for this season.
Roll on the start of the Premier League season, which as we record is a week away.
Yeah.
And roll on Hull guest. I think we've got Tommy Hutch, have we? And
what's he done for us? He wasn't bad, was he?
So that'll be a great.
He is a true legend. We use that word legend a lot, but he really is a true. 99% of the people that you would talk to, who's your favourite player in the last 30, 40, 50 years, they'll say Tommy Hutch.
Brilliant. Well, look, this is a strange question, but how does a club compare? I'm sure there's not many similarities from the club you joined back in the early 70s to the club you work for now, Diageo's.
I did think when we left Highfield Road that it was going to be difficult because Highfield Road was a family atmosphere. It was sort of, everybody knew everybody. You knew all the staff that worked there and they knew you. Then we went to then became the Rico, and it seemed quite austere at first. The corridors are huge and long and it was cold. But over the years, it's been built up and built up and built up. And I think it's the place, and the sound quality is fantastic. I remember we played Birmingham one year and both our sets of fans, Conduit and Birmingham fans, were singing the same song. We didn't want to mention the Villa. Anyway, but the sound came from it. It was incredible. Oh, it is different, it is different. I'm glad I played when I played. I'm not one of them thinking, I should playing today and earn all that money. That doesn't interest me. Enjoyed what I did when I did it, but I'm loving what we're doing now.
Some quick fire questions to finish. I haven't prepped you on. If people see you at the bar, what's Harry Roberts' favourite drink?
They probably very rarely see me at the bar because I don't get rounds in. No, that's Dave Bennett, isn't it? Never bought a drink since since the FA Cup. My favourite drink. It's funny, let me draw on a bit. When we were at Highfield Road, I was living in the hostel and became 17. I went to the Mercer's Arms right next to the ground, and I never drank. I used to drink bitter lemon, but I met my wife there. I met the girl I was going to marry. I went to the Mercer's, thought it was a library. But yes, I was used to drink bitter lemons and whatever. So I never used to drink until about 30. Going on about my dad again, but he was a really heavy drinker. So you either go that way or you go the against way. I went away again. So if you're at the bar now, be a pint of premium lager, or in the summer like this, dry cider with ice.
And it sounds like or a bitter lemon if it's a non-drink.
If it's non-drink, yeah.
Favourite Coventry City moment?
Being made captain, well, eventually leading the team out. Yeah, being captain.
which teammate would you like to see in today's game?
Tommy Hutch, probably. He'd slaughter them.
What do you think it'd be worth?
Record fees. Record fees. Yeah, in his pomp. And even in his fees, I think he'd do a job there in the Premier League now. But yeah, Tommy Hutch would be the one.
Which player would you compare yourself to today's game?
Probably someone like Jake Bidwell. That way. Good to have around the ground. The place always gives everything, trains really hard. Yeah, Jake. And Jake wouldn't thank me for that if he looked at my career. God. But no.
I'm sure I'd be more than happy with your career. What is your favourite holiday destination?
I went to, this sounds pretentious and whatever, but we never did any winter holidays because we were playing and whatever. And then I went into the coaching world and then I went to teaching. But in between, when I left one job to start another, there was a gap in January and I went to Barbados. And it was the best holiday ever. It's a beautiful place. You can't find a bad beach. The people are fantastic. You get on the little reggae buses and they tell you ask them where to stop. Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, I know it sounds a bit dearer, but Barbados was by far, yeah.
Favourite crisps?
I don't know. I like the ridge ones now. They don't name players. You just name crisps after. I remember Smokey Beckham, remember?
Smokey Beckham, Salt and
Lineker, cheese and Owen. I remember Dave Seaman not getting a look in at that. So that would have been interesting. A bit of a mouthful. But yeah, I'd probably say chicken ridge crisps. Yeah.
Chicken ridge crisps.
Yeah.
And most importantly, are Coventry City going to finish in the league next season?
Some people are saying, we finished fourth and bottom, whatever. I've got a feeling we'll finish mid-table. I've got that feeling that we're going to do well. We're going to be... not take people by surprise, but we've got quality and with Gus coming back and the players that we're bringing in. Yeah, I think, mid-table. Just for the first season, yeah.
Then we'll push on.
Yeah, we'll push on, yes.
Well, that's it. I think we've got some more orange juice and coffee to finish. Probably a sausage left. But for now, Harry, your service to Coventry City is amazing. On behalf of everyone, thank you. Thank you for joining us on this interview. And long may we continue to see you in the lounges and get some of the brilliant jokes and stories you've shared with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it.
And for everyone listening, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Harry Roberts.
Cheers.